go ahead and take the survey. Hit submit. I'm just gonna do it. You can click on any one you want. Just stroll onto the bottom. That's it. That feels pretty good.
Come in here and you know, the tour can be as long as you want it to be. So if you stayed here and you got to a car that you really like.
Here he is at the museum, getting ready to turn around and do our first tour. Got Ill Speak, cameraman, over here getting ready to get it on, We got Coop over here, getting ready to get it on. Dr. Davis is in here. I need to tell Dr. Davis that there's a delay. Hold on.
You can download the brochure on the internet too.
Yeah,
So
On the inline link.
good. All right. So did you all walk in?
Yeah.
That's the same brochure. Come on in and sign in. Hey, how y'all doing?
I'm gonna look for $1. I don't have one either.
I don't even know
I ain't got $1. I might have one in my truck.
nobody carry dollar bills.
No, I don't ain't got no money. I got a $10 bill. Oh, you got $1. All right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I went out this morning and meant to get some change and didn't.
I took $10 off of the dresser. All right, I'm gonna get out the way.
please.
Yep.
All right.
What?
Thank you. Okay, let's come right over here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Give you
Okay.
guys an idea of what the museum is about. It's called All Around the African World Museum, which actually means people of African descent or people who are black who are in all the different continents in the world. So you guys know about Asia, Africa, Europe. You probably don't. Asia, Africa, Europe, Australia, they're all in this building here. One room for Africa, one room for Europe, where France and England and those places are. The room over here is for Asia, you know, where you get India and places like that, and China, and then the hallway is Australia. And then we're gonna go to another building, and it's going to be the Americas, North America, South America, and Central America. Okay? So each room is dedicated. Come on in, sit. Now, you can download the brochure on the internet too.
On the inline link.
Good, all right. So did you all walk in? Come on in, sit. Now, you can download the brochure on the internet too.
On the inline link.
Good, all right. So did you all walk in? How many feet in 100 yards, if it's times 3? And when the child was born, they looked at him as being all wise. And so what they had was the eye of Horus, the all-seeing eye of Horus. That's why I wanted to show you a dollar bill. What's on the dollar bill?
The eye
A
of Horus.
pyramid and the eye of Horus. Why would Egyptian symbols be on our dollar bill? Why?
Why do you think, Malachi?
In fact, George Washington's hairstyle is also an Egyptian hairstyle. You're not going to figure it out. It's hard. Most people don't know. But it's because of the Masons. And the Masons study ancient Egyptian society. And so that's how they came about with the ways that they need to act and to be. George Washington was a Mason. Ben Franklin was a Mason. All of these people who started the nation were Masons. So they borrowed the Egyptian symbols. And I'll show you another one as well that's in France. So I'm going to kind of go a little quick because, you know, you got juice things that you know how you take the little juice things that you drink out of? Look, they got them there too. This is a company that made them in Ghana, okay? And if you look here, you see some other pictures of different places in Ghana as well as the people. Now, don't you notice, you see how colorful they are, don't you? So when you go to African country, you can look up there. It's going to be real colorful. Not going to be, you know, we kind of got some dull places here. But there they wear colorful clothes, everything as well. Now come on over here. And these guys here, look at these masks here. These are all masks. Now, you know, they look kind of, some can look mean, some can look tough. It looks like they want to speak, but they symbolize a lot of things. Life, love, birth, you know, for the article in the Lansing paper where they gave a, I'll make it a little bit. Okay. Anyway, we gave an ambulance to them, and so that's the chief, Nana John Kwesi. Okay. Now that's West Africa. On the other side of Africa, you have the same kind of colorful things, but you also have the forest or the savanna layer part of it. So these are African Americans. These are chiefs. But they built a bunch of them, built a whole village. You can, different houses and villages as well. So, and it's quite large, okay? Just see a little part of it. Now, if you go here, I'm going to run through these really quick. You can see this. I always show this picture first because we always trying to show, when they show Africa, they always show poor, starving people and primitive things. But you can see they got streets and highways, but yet women still carry things on their head and babies on their back. And you know, we do that now, carry them on the front. So we adopted that. This is me signing the agreement with the sister cities. This is Togo. This is in a country called Nigeria. This is a friend I went to school with him, Peter Machungwa. This is his home in Zambia. And then that's another Zambia. This is in Tanzania at Bishop Samba. I actually met him here, and I actually stayed in the Catholic diocese. And I didn't know that Catholics, you know how we do communion? Mm-hmm. You know, Catholics actually drink wine when they do communion. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that till I got there. And myself and the bishop, I shouldn't tell you, we got royally toasted on New Year's Eve. So we brought the New Year in. And then again, this is a department store in Zimbabwe. This is in Harare, Zimbabwe as well. And you can see the Islamic tradition as well there. So there's a lot of Muslims there too.
So now, this is a look that you'll never see on TV.
On TV, no, you never see that. Or things like this as well. This is the Jomo Kenyatta Conference Center in Nairobi, Kenya. I actually was with the president of Ghana. I was actually at his inauguration in 2000. And I was also at George Bush's inauguration, but that was actually a gift for my brother. But he's just getting some coconuts off,
He's just helping him out.
Helping him up, yeah. Actually, make sure he don't fall. You can see, so just holding him up while he's getting some coconuts, or it might be something else too, might be. So you can see how close Africa is there. And this is Sicily. That's why in Italy, and if you ever watch any of the Godfather's movies, they always call themselves Sicilians. And they don't consider themselves Italians. I was actually going to Ghana, and so I stayed there overnight. But
to get on the system, you know what I'm saying?
You just put in line, we got the bottom.
This gives you a real look into how to bring a statue to life with Inline Link. This is Inline Link and how we bring statues to life. If you haven't heard about it, you will. Inline Link, a way to open up the keys to statues. Google, a good camera.
Okay, now, I was just really being focused in on what you have going on.
Okay.
I'm ready whenever you are, Dr. Davis.
All righty, okay.
Ready?
Good. Yep.
Okay, 3,
Okay.
2.
Hotel. Assalamu alaikum. Habari Gani, and good afternoon as we go through all around the African World Museum, which is the presence of people of African descent in each one of the continents except Antarctica, but all of the inhabited continents. And so we're actually going to start, since this is all around the African World Museum, of course, the continent of Africa. And here, when we start, I begin to show you, if you remember, and you've heard of Egypt, Egypt is the oldest civilization that we have. And it actually came about, modern, we might say, Egypt, traditional Egypt, about 5,000 years ago when Menes, and the picture here, Menes, who united the two parts of Egypt, Upper and Lower Egypt, about 5,000 years ago, and then actually created what we call the modern land of what we call Egypt. It was larger at that point in time, and we have a smaller version of it now. And to give you an idea of how important it was and how strong it was, these are pictures of ancient nobles during ancient Egyptian society. It was also called Kemet. And if you've heard of the hieroglyphs, it comes from Egypt. And we have here also give you an idea of how that traditional Egypt manifests itself today. Look at these pictures here. 5,000 years ago, the pharaohs with dreadlocks and braids. Nothing new under the sun. And of course here we have the Eye of Horus. And the eye of Horus, if you were able to look at the dollar bill, you see that eye actually portrayed. And it's also portrayed on the pyramids here, which are around 5,000 years old too. Now think of this. This pyramid is 500 feet tall. Think of a football field, 100 yards, 300 feet. This pyramid is as tall as length of almost 2 football fields, almost 1 million stones within the building, and it's lasted for 5,000 years. And of course, on the dollar bill, you see the pyramid as well as you see the eye of Horus. Again, to show how traditional society still manifests itself today. And as we go over, we also look at some again of the ancient pictures from some of the Egyptians as well as the pharaohs. So we're going to jump now to modern Africa, and we're going to look at Ghana. And these are pictures here of our sister city in Ghana, Akopim South District, as well as Nsawam municipality here. And these are some of the individuals that link with us from Lansing as well as those from the Akopim South and also Accra, Ghana. And so if we look at that, we carry on here. And you look at here, while we were working on a health project, it's groups of us here from Lansing as well as those from Ghana actually working on health projects where we build a lot of wells as well as latrines, as well as interacting with the educational system, as well as having folks come here to learn, as well as we've gone there to learn. We've dealt with agriculture, we've done with health, and we've also have dealt with culture. This is particularly a health project. And then, of course, we go to the not so far distant past, Yasantawa, 1863 to 1923. And here you have the golden stool. I actually have a replica of the stool here, not the golden stool itself, but a replica of one of the stools. And the importance of the stool, within the stool resides the soul of the Ashanti people, the most famous group in Ghana. And the British had taken the golden stool, so in essence they took the soul of the Ashanti people. And so when they took the Ashanti people, there was the idea, should we battle to get the stool back? The men were encouraged to battle, and they were led by this queen, Queen Anne Nzinga. I'm sorry, I'm going back to Angola. This is Queen Yasantawa. Queen Nzinga is from Angola, who fought the Portuguese for 40 years. But Yasantawa, as you see here, the queen, as you see, she has a rifle as well as a knife, showing her strength as a general and as a warrior. And they took the stool back and returned it to the Ashanti people. Here we see, again, we go back to modern Africa and modern Accra. Now I'm saying, when I say modern Africa, Africa has 55 countries. So this is just Ghana, which I'm speaking of here. And we'll see some of the other countries as we pass through. Now here is some of the fruits. If you can see here, some of the little fruit boxes where you put the little straws in that we drink here. This is one of those factories that produces those same juices there. Here is part of the cultural aspect, the dances at the palace. Ghana still has the kingship, the queens and the kings as well too, and these are some of the cultural traditions, some of the dance as well as some of the ceremonies that occur as well. And so as we come through, we come here to some of the masks, and these masks, they also are from Ghana, and masks depict many things. They depict spirit beings, departed ancestors, invisible powers of social control, and they're generally part of a performance ensemble, so there are ceremonies that actually go along with these masks. So masks for fertility, for birth, for death, again, various ceremonies as well, for marriage, etc. Many of the social aspects of the Ghanaian culture is exhibited through the mask. And as you can see here, now this is West Africa. I've jumped here. As you can see, here are some pictures that happen in East Africa, especially in Tanzania as well as in Kenya. And this is where we actually see some of the wildebeest and the zebras who are exhibited here, especially in West and East Africa and in Tanzania. And if you go here to this wall here, we begin to see what's happening in terms of what we call the African savannah. Now let me just sing for you a moment. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. If you look here, this is not jungle. And if you look at the lion there, he is not in the jungle. This is savannah land. So that's kind of a bit of the lion in the jungle, but the lions don't live in jungles. It's savannah land. These are pictures of the savannah. Tambo, the elephant. Here we have a cheetah after killing a gazelle. And we also, too, now this is in East Africa, Tanzania. Now this is also from Tanzania. This is called the Makandi carving, and it shows what we call harambee, of people pulling together. And as you can see, it exhibits unity. So this is from East Africa and from Tanzania, Makandi carvings as well. And we can see also from West Africa, again, if we go back to Ghana, this is what's called a unity statue. And as you can see, it opens up into 5 people, but it's all made out of one piece of wood. Just shows the strength of the carvings that people actually do. So again, we look here, we see monies from Africa. Here we see monies from Kenya, we see monies or currencies from Tanzania as well. Here we also see more statues. Again, you can see, so you can see throughout this, we have East Africa and West Africa mixed together. And again, you can see the buffalo or wildebeest, the lion, the giraffe, who, because their front legs are so tall, they have to open their legs so that they can bend over just to drink water. So you get an aspect of that. Now, as you know, also in Ghana, there's also cocoa. 70% of the world's cocoa comes from West Africa and especially Ghana. And these are bags of cocoa at Timber, which is one of the ports in Ghana as well. Now, just real quickly, I kind of didn't go through, again, bringing us back to our sister city, Nana John Kwesi, who is the chief in the Aquafilm South region. And you can see we donated an ambulance from Lansing. This is the first ambulance. We also donated a second ambulance. We also have had water projects as well as traditional farming projects as well in Ghana. And if we go a little over here, and again, because of that, the women have very excellent posture. Men also carry things as well on their head as well too. And also you see streets and sidewalks. Too often we get pictures of Africa looking at poor children and nothing that is positive about it. But as you can go through, you can see a lot of modernization as well as again in Nigeria. So Nigeria, Togo, Zambia, again myself signing the agreement with Nana John Kwesi for our sister city as well. Now here again is Tanzania, as well as Bishop Samba with the Catholic Diocese as well. Now this is Southern Africa here, this is South Africa here, the Republic of South Africa as well here. And we also see other pictures of people in Africa. Tanzania, Zimbabwe, which is also in Southern Africa, as here you can essentially see the modernization as well there. This is also in Zimbabwe as well. Young lady also in Zimbabwe as well. So now we come over to Kenya, and this is in Mombasa. Mombasa is on the East African coast. Again, you can see how Islam and Islamic structures are also illustrated also in Kenya. This is also in Kenya too. It was in a movie Out of Africa, which is the train that they use. And we also can see here, again, Zambia as well. Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, the Jomo Kenyatta Conference Center. And as you can see, this piece here is illustrative of the village hut. Wangari Maathai, who won the Nobel Prize for Peace because of planting so many trees in Kenya, also became kind of a political exile as well, but she won the Nobel Peace Prize, and as well as to some of the other structures as well as from East Africa. And this is Barbara Roberts Mason, again signing an agreement with Dr. Laurier, who's also from Ghana, also a member of the Ga people. And then here is I actually attended the inauguration of KUFOR in 2000. As you can notice, red, white, and blue. You can notice that the symbol is also the elephant. There are two major parties. One symbol is the elephant and the other is the donkey, like our Democratic and Republican parties. And we kind of see when we have a Republican administration in, we tend to see NPP, and then when we have a Democratic structure here, you see NDC. And so again, you see, so I was actually at that inauguration as well. And again, you can see pictures of Kenya as well too. These are some of the Maasai people from Tanzania. So we've covered Egypt, we've covered Ghana, we've covered Kenya, we've covered Tanzania, South Africa, Togo, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, and I think that's the countries that are mostly illustrated here. So this is the room that illustrates Africa. So let us now go to the room, to the African presence in Europe. Many of you have heard of Hannibal, who crossed the Alps to defeat the Romans. This is Hannibal, a black man, always illustrated as white, but you can see this is a coin of him, one of the world's greatest generals as well. These are pictures you see of people who were of mixed race around the time of, say, of Christ in that time, 2,000 years ago. And these are pictures taken from the British Museum. You also see a book here of Black Londoners, as well, as well as Black and British. Okay, and then let's go look at what else is happening in London. Now, of course, he was from place right here at Carthage and Tunisia right here. And you can actually see how close Africa is to Italy. Although he went all the way across through the Straits of Gibraltar and came all across southern Europe to fight Rome. He was later also was defeated as well afterwards, after he had done that. Here again, we look at this book here called The African Presence in Early Europe, which actually illustrates throughout Europe and all the countries of the early African presence, as well as Mary Seacoe, and I'll show you her grave site as well. Now here are businesses in London, a place essentially called Hackney. This is the Hackney Black People's Association with Brother Lester Lewis, who has soon passed. I actually went to his funeral, but he ran the Hackney Black People's Association. Another area of London called Brixton, and these show various pictures of businesses also in Brixton. Now this is an amazing set here. These folks here made £1 million selling hair care products. And I actually was at a reception that honored them, and you can kind of see some of the people who were at the reception as well. Other businesses also in Hackney as well. Venus Williams, 2000, the year we opened the museum, won Wimbledon. Not the first Black American woman or African American woman who won Wimbledon. Althea Gibson in 1957. But Venus Williams, and you know her sister Serena as well too. Vince Hines, who has a project working with children, and this is his association here, and it shows he's working with children. He also has a book here that he also wrote, Vince Hines as well too, illustrating some of the areas and works that he did. Now, let's go to folks from Africa in Spain, from Morocco. This is a portrait of the Moors. They actually ruled Spain from 711 AD to 1230 and actually stayed until the Spanish Inquisition. And they were kicked out, they were Muslim as well. They were kicked out in 1492, as well as Jews out of Spain. That was also the year that Columbus sailed the ocean blue. So 1492 was a very, very, very important day in history. And so for more reasons than one. And of course, when we go back to looking again, Charlotte Sophia, the Black Queen of England. When was she the Queen of England? During the Revolutionary War. She was George III's wife, half German, half African descent. And again here you see Mary Seacole. And I had a book over there about Mary Seacole. She was a nurse during the Crimean War. If you remember, Florence Nightingale was also in the Crimean War, so they were actually there together. And Crimea, you see, is in recent history. That's what's happened in Russia as well. So Crimea, so we see how even history comes back again, especially in looking at war. Ralph Stoker, who has a museum similar to this, where he talks a lot about folks here in Africa, America. This is Dido Lindsay, a mulatto, meaning half black, half white, who was the daughter of Lawrence Mansfield, the Chief Justice of Great Britain, 1756 to 1788. They actually made a movie about her 3 years ago called Belle. So if you want to see her life and history, it's a movie called Belle. And if we look here, in this case here, you see Claudia Jones. That's also a picture of her. She was in exile, but she wrote the first black newspaper in London called the West Indian Gazette. And we can see the Claudia Jones organization, which is illustrated here as well. These are people from Ghana, from our sister city, who's in London as well. Again, you can see Marcus Garvey, who had a worldwide organization called the UNIA, United Negro Improvement Association. This is a house that he lived. He lived during the 1920s, 1930s as well. Now again, we go back to Rome and we go back to Italy. These are pictures of people of mixed descent, black and white, in London over 2,000 years ago, also found in the British Museum, and the Rosetta Stone, for which they were able to translate hieroglyphics into French and to Debati. And so that's how we were able to learn how the ancient Egyptians spoke and wrote, which again was the very first written language, hieroglyphics. And again, here is a picture here of the obelisk. If you look at it, it's an exact replica of the Washington Monument. Exact replica. They actually took this, and this sits on de Gaulle Avenue in France. They actually took it from Egypt and placed it in de Gaulle Avenue. This young lady here, if you notice, remember I told you about the Egyptians with the braids and the dreads? The Jerry curl, 2,000 years old. 2,000 years old. And again, other pictures of those of African descent in Rome. So that's some of the African presence in Europe. And if we go here, you want to go now?
Go ahead.
And if you get a chance to come, I'm going to want to kind of start looking at, if you really kind of look at this fellow here, Alexander Pushkin, Russia's greatest poet. And again, was the founder of modern Russian literature here. And so we see Alexander Pushkin. He's also mentioned over here as well. And I have here another portrait of him here too. Now this kind of goes throughout the work, and I'm going to go through it kind of quickly. But here you have some black Seminole Indians in Florida. Here you have black Mongols in China. And you can see here, if you look here, black Mongols also in China as well here too. Back couple thousand years ago, as well as Javara Man 7 in Cambodia. That's also mentioned here. Both these portraits are here, and we also have Javara Man 7 here as well. Here we have Martin Luther King. Here we have these huge stone heads. And when we do the African presence in the Americas, you see these huge stone heads in Mexico over 2,000 years ago, showing where Africans had traveled to the Americas 2,000 years ago. A black Buddha. This is Alexander Dumas, who wrote the books, The Three Musketeers and the Count of Monte Cristo. Many people didn't know he was black. We have a Sphinx. The Banda women of India. And here we have a portrait of the Banda women in India here, as well as one of the rings that go around their neck. So again, the African presence in Asia. Again, here we have Saint Maurice, a Catholic saint. Madam C.J. Walker in the Americas, who made hair care products. Frederick Douglass, the great abolitionist here. Haile Selassie, the God King of Ethiopia, who is descended directly from King Solomon. His other name is also Rastafari. So we see his linkages there with those from Jamaica, and they worship him. Again, Pushkin. This is the Qing dynasty in China, a black dynasty. Rosa Parks here in the U.S. Matthew Henson, who put the American flag up at the North Pole. Of course, Malcolm X from Lansing, right here in Lansing, to Javaral Man 7. Imhotep, the great Egyptian genius, a multi-genius, built the first pyramid at Saqqara, as well as the father of medicines, who many people give Hippocrates the credit, but Hippocrates and many of those studied in Egypt. And also Louis Latimer, who invented the filament that goes into the light bulb for all of us, the one that the part that actually lights up. And here are the Dravidians in India. Now, one of the things about looking at from India as well as the Banda people and the Banda women, there are more people of African descent in India than any other place in the world, including countries in Africa. Doesn't match the totality of Africa, but it has more people than Nigeria, the most populous country in Africa. These are statues that are found in the museum in New Delhi of deities in the Buddhist and the Hindu faith. Well, too. And here again, you see another black Buddha. If you look this way, well, let me just keep going this way too. But here, these are Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, which were civilizations in India and Pakistan now, which was once a part of India, 4,000 years ago. Black civilizations as well. And if we go here, we see also people from India, as well as black children in India. And this is Sareva, who is one of the deities in the the Buddhist faith as well. And again, you see Javaral Man 7, as well as the black Mongols in China, and other statues that represent people of African descent. Oh, and this is also, I picked this up this is silk. I actually picked this up in Turkey, Istanbul, Turkey. And of course, you know, Istanbul and Turkey is right between what we call Europe and Asia. And so we see here Muslims, children and people learning Islam. I picked this up in Istanbul. So that is the African presence in Asia. So here, the last in this building is the African presence in Australia, the land down under. Now, as you know, this is the only continent that is also a country. And as we can see here, some of the rock art is mostly desert as well. That's where we get the name the Outback. It's also called the Red Center. And if you look at the picture, you can kind of see a red tint that shows on all of these various items. Again, this is rock art. This is here a didgeridoo here. You actually play this. This is a horn. Now, this is not the pretty ones that you see. This is actually a training one. So I can even... So that's about all I can do. I need to learn it. I still got time to learn how to play it. Anyway, this was given to me by this guy right here. He was a dancer. I was in Sydney, and when I passed by a bar, and he shouted out, "Hey, soul brother," and I shouted back, "Hey, soul brother," and we got royally toasted. But anyway, he was a dancer that went to all of the schools, teaching them some of the Aborigine tradition. So I went. We actually exchanged shirts, and he actually gave me this as a present for. And again, we see more rock art. We see the kangaroos. This was a kangaroo orphanage. You know, many times they got hit by cars and were hurt. They would bring them to the orphanage so that they could heal themselves. And also, this is the return of ownership. As you know, the land was taken from the Aborigine, again by the British, just as the Native Americans lost their land here. And that's why they call them the Aborigine people. And they have now been given back all of the natural the land, you know, that still exists, like the parks and everything. And this is called return of ownership. And here, you get a chance to see some of the Aborigine children as well. I actually took this at the airport in Sydney as well too, and you can see how some of them actually live in poverty. And again, you see the panorama of the Aboriginal people as well, some of the children. They say I look like this guy here, so I may have some Aborigine in me. And again, it gives you a little history of the Aborigine people. And so we have now covered Australia, Asia, Europe, and of course Africa. And next time we'll go through and we'll look at the African presence in the Americas. Thank you.
Perfect.